For the third time since May, human remains have been discovered in Lake Mead near Las Vegas, Nevada. Authorities are still working to identify the body after it was found on Monday afternoon. Lake Mead, the nation's largest reservoir, has shrunk to historic lows due to a decades-long drought.
Once seen as a triumph of human engineering, Lake Mead is now revealing a far more unsettling story. As water levels plunge to historic lows, the retreating shoreline exposes cracked earth, stranded infrastructure, and long-buried secrets that were never meant to resurface.
What looks like a simple drought from afar is, up close, a convergence of climate stress, failing systems, and hidden risks, accumulating beneath the desert's sun. In this video, we follow the receding waterline to uncover what Lake Mead is quietly warning us about the future of the American Southwest, and why this vanishing reservoir may be one of the most dangerous places in the United States today. Chapter 1. The Deadliest Recreation Area. They call it the Deadliest Recreation Area in the United States. A place that once drew visitors by the millions for sun, water, and adventure, and now pulls headlines for something far darker. Lake Mead, the iconic reservoir straddling Arizona and Nevada, sits near the heart of a slow unfolding disaster. Its expanse, once a shimmering ribbon of blue across the desert, has shrunk by about 150 feet in elevation over the last 2 decades, exposing not just parched earth, but the hidden costs and limits of our reliance on water from afar. Towering white mineral bands, aptly named the bathtub ring, now mark where water once lapped. A haunting testament to loss and warning. With water levels dropping year after year, boat ramps suddenly hang idle, marinas meant for busy summer crowds stand beached on cracked silt, and docks bend or twist atop shifting mud. Fewer tourists arrive to find idyllic beaches or aquatic adventure. Instead, many walk across muddy stretches and desolate rock, staring out at the sun-bleached shells of long-abandoned boats, rusting machinery, and a silence that stretches over the re-exposed ground. This transformation is not a mystery. Climate change is fueling prolonged drought across the American West. For nearly a century, Lake Mead was a symbol of modern engineering, a feat designed to harness the wild Colorado River. It quenched cities, nourished crops, powered industry, and stood as proof of humankind's audacity to tame the desert. But now, vanishing water and newly exposed earth offer evidence of what happens when natural limits are ignored. Each lost foot of water uncovers more than just geological layers. Old secrets emerge, a slow, unnerving revelation that exposes the vulnerabilities beneath our most ambitious projects. Beneath these physical changes, the shrinking coves, sunk boats, the appearance of long-buried human remains, lies a challenge more complex than the receding waterline itself. Are the spreading cracks on Lake Mead's floor mere marks of drought? Or are they harbingers of a more profound unraveling at the core of the Southwest's water system? As the shoreline retreats and Lake Mead yields its secrets, the pressing question remains: what is this great reservoir warning us about the West's next chapter? Chapter 2. Lake Mead Water Crisis Exposed. Venture onto the newly revealed ground around Lake Mead, and you'll find strange, snake-like cracks splitting the powdery earth, a stark record of thirst and change. To those who live nearby, this shifting landscape brings both unnerving sights and sounds: the snapping of earth in the heat, the cleaving of mud as it shrinks away from old water lines. These fractures are more than just the byproducts of evaporation. They are ominous reminders that the system at the heart of the American Southwest is at risk. Is it possible this is just nature's cycle? A dry spell in a land of extremes? Or does the drastic fall in Lake Mead's water signal stress is deeper than drought alone? The data is clear. The reservoir once held back one of the planet's largest man-made bodies of fresh water. Since the early 2000s, it has lost more than 2/3 of its total volume. Satellite images chart year-by-year retreats, with blue waters giving way to barren rock and abandoned shoreline infrastructure. The now familiar white bathtub ring widens with every season, a physical record inscribed by receding water. Meanwhile, shrinking snowpacks in the Rockies, extreme heat, and ongoing withdrawals by cities and farms have pushed Lake Mead past levels imagined by its early planners. With every lost foot of water, the risks to the 40 million people dependent on the Colorado River grow more acute. Drought maps of the West throb dark red, from Montana's mountains to Southern California's suburbs. Cities once assured of endless flow now weigh rationing. Farms face new limits on irrigation. As river inflows decrease and demand soars, the lake is forced into a new, perilous normal. Behind these numbers looms a deeper threat. What further dangers will the continuing decline of Lake Mead expose? Not just on its desolate shores, but for every community whose survival depends on its waters. Chapter 3: Exposed Cracks and Fractures. The evidence of crisis is deeply etched into Lake Mead's exposed bed. Scientists and geologists closely examine each split and furrow, seeking to understand what these new features mean. While most cracks come from drying mud, a natural result as fine sediment contracts under a relentless sun, some deeper fractures prompt closer scrutiny. Are these patterns just cosmetic scars left by a shrinking lake? Or do they hint at underlying problems lurking beneath? For most lay observers, visible cracks and fissures appear as an inevitable sign of drought. Mudflats harden, then break apart as water seeps out. However, researchers notice certain fracture patterns that cut deeper, some paralleling known faults in the region. Although no evidence currently points to imminent geological instability, there is concern that ongoing drawdown changes the distribution of weight and pressure along the lakebed and surrounding terrain. If the drought continues, shifting groundwater and the downward pull of the shrinking water mass may alter stress dynamics beneath the lake. Experts continue to monitor these features, logging each substantial break and mapping changes over time. This close attention helps build a picture, not just of surface drying, but of how the entire system, suspended between nature and infrastructure, responds to extraordinary strain. Chapter 4: Deadly Droughts and Hidden Dangers. Lake Mead's story can't be separated from the American West's long history of drought. For centuries, cycles of wet and dry have shaped landscapes and challenged those who live here. Yet even within this context, the current drought stands out for its intensity and duration. This mega-drought is rewriting what scientists thought possible. Is this simply another swing in the historic pendulum? Or have human choices pushed the region into uncharted and more dangerous territory? By the numbers, the current drought and record heat are rapidly overwhelming Lake Mead's design capacity. Built to buffer against temporary shortages, not decades-long aridity, the reservoir now reveals more than receding water: dried up tributaries, cracked soil, and withered vegetation. Government data confirms a vicious cycle. Rising temperatures speed evaporation. Exposed soil absorbs less rain, and subsequent storms do little to recharge depleted stores. The result is an ever-weakening network. Irrigation bans hit farmers hardest, forcing fallow fields and lost income. Ranchers bring in water trucks at soaring expense, and some towns resort to rationing or trucking in supplies when wells falter. With less water comes more than just thirst. As the basin empties, new hazards emerge, from dust storms kicking up toxic particles to sudden collapses along the shoreline. Each season brings new risks, both for nature and for the millions counting on a system now stretched to its limit. Chapter 5: Mysterious human remains discovered. As water levels fall, Lake Mead's past makes a dramatic return. In recent years, at least 3 sets of human remains have been discovered in areas previously submerged. Some finds are grisly. Human bones washed clean by water and time. A body found in a rusted barrel, likely dating to the 1970s or 1980s. Local authorities note that the circumstances suggest foul play, and speculation abounds that one of the remains may be connected to organized crime from Las Vegas's wilder decades. But these are not the only discoveries. As the water recedes, more long-standing missing persons cases have been reopened. Forensic teams collect evidence from the muddy ground, searching for identifying features, rings, wallets, scraps of clothing. Some discoveries close painful chapters for families, even as others raise new questions. Although Lake Mead's reputation as a place of accidental deaths and drownings is well documented, the number of remains emerging in so short a time and their conditions point to both a record of deadly accidents and reminders of unresolved crimes. With more shoreline exposed each week, the local sheriff admits there is no way to predict how many more secrets the lake still holds. Chapter 6: Unearthing Forgotten Artifacts. Lake Mead's rapid retreat has transformed its bed into a kind of archaeological dig. Each new recession of water exposes relics of the past, an accidental archive spanning from the era before the dam to decades of modern recreation. Teams of archaeologists and amateur explorers now descend on the shores, eager to catalogue the discoveries. Finds range from the mundane to the rare: rusting car chassis, glass bottles and tableware, jewellery, coins lost by sunbathers, fishing reels and household items from the 20th century. Stone tools and arrowheads sometimes surface too, hinting at a native presence that predates the dam by centuries or more. Occasionally, items link to entire communities drowned by the original filling, such as St. Thomas, Nevada, whose residents left behind everything they could not carry when the waters rose. Each artifact adds to the story of Lake Mead as both a living space and a graveyard of lost hopes and unfinished tales. Researchers catalogue and preserve these items, conscious that this window into the past may last only as long as the drought, or until the next storm buries them once again. Chapter 7: Dwindling Water, Intensifying Threats. Lake Mead's decline sends ripples far beyond its immediate basin, threatening the well-being of millions downstream across Arizona, Nevada, California, and even into Mexico. 4 states rely on its water allocations, all governed by a compact nearly a century old, one based on water flows that often no longer exist. As the supply shrinks, the region faces harsh decisions: rationing, mandatory cutbacks for cities and agriculture, and hard limits on outdoor water use. Municipal agencies invest in efficiency, water recycling, and even the controversial search for new sources through desalination or pipeline projects. But the challenges mount as Lake Mead's level drops closer to thresholds where the Hoover Dam's intakes and hydropower begin to fail. On farms, century-old water rights offer only limited protection. Many growers abandon fields to keep priority crops alive, or leave land fallow altogether, with economic and ecological consequences rippling out from each lost harvest. Meanwhile, entire irrigation networks go unused, and towns debate ever more severe restrictions and higher prices. This is not a strictly local crisis. If water in Lake Mead drops below the dead pool line, an elevation so low that water can no longer flow past Hoover Dam by gravity, critical downstream users could face interruptions. Cities now run real scenarios about energy shortfalls, rolling blackouts, and even relocation, as old solutions fail to keep up with vanishing supplies. Chapter 8: Earthquake risks beneath the surface. As Lake Mead's water level drops, scientists keep a watchful eye on any impact below ground. Historically, large reservoirs have been shown to alter stress on local faults, a process called reservoir-induced seismicity. The sheer weight of water pressing on the bedrock beneath a lake can help stabilize faults. Remove that weight quickly, and an adjustment can trigger small earthquakes, as has been documented in other parts of the world. Although the risk is not fully understood at Lake Mead scale, some seismologists track small tremors and changing groundwater pressures near the reservoir's edges, seeking early warning signs of stress shifts. While so far only minor seismic events have been recorded, models suggest that continued rapid drawdown could modestly increase earthquake risk, especially where geologic faults are already under strain. Most experts agree the likelihood of a major quake directly caused by the lake's drop remains low, but monitoring continues as a precaution. For now, awareness is the primary defense, as nature's response to extreme change remains unpredictable. Chapter 9. Cracking reservoirs, failing systems. Lake Mead's critical infrastructure, built to span a century or more, now faces stress tests its designers never envisioned. Hoover Dam, a marvel of American engineering, relies on a full reservoir to generate power efficiently for millions. As water falls, turbines lose capacity and can even shut down if intakes are exposed. Maintenance crews patrol the dam's concrete, monitoring for cracks and structural stress as air and temperature fluctuations reach areas once submerged and insulated. Intake pipes and water distribution systems, built to operate within a defined range, approach design limits as the lake recedes. Failure at these points would not just disrupt water delivery, but could dim power across the southwest, closing factories and threatening lives in desert heatwaves. Officials warn of cascading failure, where multiple systems, each pushed past their safe operating limits, trigger broader disruptions. Unless water levels stabilize or rebound, even the most robust infrastructure faces rising risks. Chapter 10. Climate change and the Mega-Drought. Why is Lake Mead shrinking so quickly and so relentlessly? The science points to the confluence of historical drought, steadily rising temperatures, and long-term climate change. Repeated studies of Colorado river flows and western precipitation reveal a pattern far outside typical multi-decade dry spells. Scientists label this ongoing event as a mega-drought, among the most severe in at least 1,200 years, based on tree ring and sediment studies. Each year, reduced snowpack in upstream mountains starves the river of replenishment. Hotter summers mean more water evaporates from both the land and the lake's surface, sometimes as much as 6 feet in a single year. With the southwest warming faster than other regions, these impacts compound, eroding Lake Mead faster than any time in its history. All evidence points to a grim trend. While natural cycles have always shaped the basin, human-driven climate change now amplifies, speeds, and entrenches the crisis. Lake Mead's dramatic shrinkage provides a living example of the new rules governing water security in a changing world. Rules rewritten by our own collective footprint. Chapter 11. Ancient clues in the lakebed. With the lake's dramatic recession, scientists have a rare chance to study layers of the canyon floor that have been hidden for generations. Geologists and archaeologists use coring samples and sediment analysis to piece together a deeper timeline. one that reflects both ancient climate swings and more recent upheavals. Sediment bands reveal glacial floods, centuries of drought, ash from long-ago wildfires, and debris slides from violent storms. In some places, relics from before the reservoir's creation, a pocket knife, a wagon part, a stone arrowhead, offer glimpses of those who traversed and settled the Colorado's banks long before the modern era. Their findings underline, while the present crisis is amplified by modern impact, cycles of wet and dry, disaster and recovery have shaped this land forever. Nature's memory is long, and the lessons trapped in the exposed soil may guide those seeking to restore resilience to this embattled system. Chapter 12. The true cost to ecosystems. Lost amid discussions of engineering and supply is an ecological crisis. As Lake Mead contracts, its interconnected web of life unravels at every level. Fish populations, once abundant, decline amid higher temperatures and shrinking habitat. Biologists rescue stranded bass and shad by the bucket, while predators, herons and raccoons, pick over isolated pools. Wetlands vital for migrating birds have vanished, replaced by invasive weeds or barren ground. Native species, many already pushed toward the brink, lose ground as their habitats disappear. Cliff swallow colonies, once numbering in the thousands, disappear as nesting sites dry or collapse. On land, desperate animals wander further for food and water, sometimes crossing into developed neighborhoods and sparking new conflicts. Each piece of the ecosystem, from plankton to predators, loses ground as the reservoir shrinks. The reverse cascade is clear. As nature's resilience fails, the volatility of everything built atop it only grows. Chapter 13. Buried Histories, Unsolved Mysteries. Every foot of receded shoreline reopens the story of Lake Mead and the communities and lives tied to it. Newly found artifacts, from mining tools to remnants of old ferries, reveal the human drama as the land changed and communities were abandoned. Sometimes stories surface around found objects that hint at lost towns, illicit enterprises, or migration routes erased by water. As more remains are identified, once cold investigations spark anew, pushing police, scientists, and families into a race against time. Periodically, the media revisits rumors of barrels, sunken vehicles, and lost treasure. Some myths are debunked, others revived. But always the sense remains that the drying lake is both a window to the past and a somber predictor of what comes next if current trends continue. Chapter 14. Real-time disasters, real-life impact. The water crisis at Lake Mead is not just a statistic. It translates daily into emergencies and loss. Because of its size and accessibility, Lake Mead National Recreation Area has the highest rate of fatal incidents among positioned parklands nationwide. Every year, reports describe drownings, boating mishaps, collapses from unstable banks and mudslides, and deaths from heat exposure by those who underestimate the desert's extremes. Emergency services struggle with longer response times as boat ramps close and infrastructure cracks. Communications falter, and hospitals confront rising numbers of heat-related illnesses as shade shrinks and temperatures soar. For every disaster recorded, officials see patterns repeating: a dangerous landscape, a system under siege, and a community pressed to its limits. The margin of safety is shrinking, not just for those seeking recreation, but for all who rely on the lake's bounty. Chapter 15. The numbers etched in stone. Lake Mead's dramatic collapse is both a story of numbers and a set of warnings written into the landscape. The 150-foot drop in water elevation, rapid volume loss over 20 years, and the visible record laid out in receding rings, stranded boats, and exposed foundations all testify to the scale of the disaster. As millions more move to the southwest, competition for diminished water sharpens. Las Vegas pulls supply from new intakes set deeper in the lakebed. Phoenix and other cities scramble to secure alternative sources. Conservation measures that seemed revolutionary now constitute the bare minimum. Amid it all, researchers, emergency workers, and ordinary families measure fate year by year, watching as each foot lost brings new challenges. Each artifact uncovered, every fractured patch of earth, every newly found set of remains is a message. Lake Mead is more than a water source. It is history's ledger for the region, a silent witness to mistakes made, and a canvas on which the future will be written drop by vanishing drop. Lake Mead is more than a vanishing reservoir. It's a warning written in water, stone, and memory. With every foot lost, history unfurls, secrets resurface, and the true costs of neglect and overreach become undeniable. What has been revealed on these dry, fractured shores is not just the result of environmental forces, but the sum of choices made, risks ignored, and lessons unheeded. The fate of Lake Mead stands as a stark mirror for the American West and the world, reminding us that no engineered solution can outrun nature forever, and that the reckoning for survival has only just begun.